Oh my goodness. Hi. I'm Jenny. And I just want to thank you for coming back. If you're new, if you come, okay. Thanks for coming back. If you're new, well, thanks for clicking on this video, and let's go for a little ride while I talk about the random things that pop into my head. So I wanted to talk about this email that Elon Musk sent out to all the federal employees to name 5 things that they did last week and what my thoughts are on it. And so the gist of it is they have to tell 5 things they did last week by, I forget what day it was, by a certain date, which I think was Monday, actually, a couple days ago. And if they didn't, then it would be considered your resignation, which I didn't read the email, so I don't know if it actually says that, but that's kind of, okay, so let's talk about the negative on it. If that's the way that it's worded, it's not good, okay? That's going to hurt morale, okay? And just because the email says that, doesn't mean people aren't going to show up on Monday. Although many might or haven't, but I kind of doubt it. So there's that thing there. Now, my understanding is there were several departments where the leadership in those departments were telling people not to respond. So I'm going to talk about that first. And I would hope, first of all, if my boss said, don't respond to this email, that they're going to go to bat for me. I would hope. I hope. I mean, it would really be so bad if they did that. Said don't respond, and then I got laid off because I didn't know whose directives to follow. Do I have to follow my boss's directions, or do I follow Elon Musk's directions? If I was in those shoes, in that position, I can tell you the truth. I'd probably do one of 2 things. I'd either send an email. This is going to be ugly. I'd either just send an email to Elon and list out those 5 things, and to hell with my boss, because I'm not so sure they would have my back, A, or B, I would send an email to Elon Musk and CC my boss and say, per my boss's instructions, I've been advised not to respond to your email. Okay? And I'm so sorry. That may seem just as dirty as anything else, but when it comes down to you or me, it's going to be you. Okay? It's going to be you. I am not. I got bills to pay, just like everybody else. And if somebody's making their decisions based on their emotions and not facts, or considering the repercussions of them, and it's going to affect me, you're not, sorry. I am so sorry. But that is not sorry. There you go. Sorry, not sorry. So here's the thing, okay? I think part of the reason why people are so flustered over this thing is because this isn't common practice in government leadership. It really isn't. It's not that uncommon, though, truthfully, in corporate America. List 5 things that you did last week. Matter of fact, it's very common to have meetings, at least by department, what your department did in the last week. I mean, I'm kind of dumbfounded by this, because in business, you have goals. You have objectives to meet, and you have a goal, and you make a plan of action of how you're going to get there, and then you do each thing step by step. That's what you do. And so there's a level of accountability, especially if it involves more than one department or one team. So team A has to do such and such, and team B does such and such. And together, when we each do our respective tasks, when we come back together, then we get closer to meeting that goal. That's how it works, okay? And so I mean, I just don't understand. And now I did tell you, and you'll see it's starting to come out here in other videos that I'm seeing, that one of mine, I think it was the video when I was talking about the government layoffs with the probationary employees, that I have a personal friend. I don't know, I can't believe he told me this. Like, when he told me, this was years ago, when he told me this, I was like, are you kidding me? He goes into his office, locks the door, and sleeps. Literally getting paid to sleep. I would be too embarrassed to say something like that, okay? But just getting back to the email and 5 things that you did last week, I can tell you 5 things I did today. You know, I mean, how hard is it? Is it really that hard? And what is wrong with holding people accountable to their jobs, especially a government job? So I was thinking about this just a few minutes ago. That's why I'm doing this video. You know, when you talk to people who are in the military, particularly active military, there is this dedication and pride in what they're doing. I've never met anybody who was in the service that was ashamed of what they were doing. Never. Even our veterans, and I'm old enough to, they were older than me, but I'm old enough to have known some Vietnam veterans, and we, as a country, really treated them poorly. We really, really did, and we still aren't doing what we could have been doing for them. But I have never met anybody who served their country and was ashamed to do it or embarrassed to do it. And they certainly did not feel like, well, I'll just get this cushy military job and I'll just sleep all day, because that is a good way to get killed, okay? You know, if you're out on the front lines and you decide to take a nap, might not be a good idea, right? And that's the kind of attitude that I think our government employees should have. We should be, you know, we shouldn't be having people that think it's okay to go to work and do nothing and sleep on the job and walk away from their computers or whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing. And we should be having the best of the best in our government positions. It should be so hard to get a government job. And those positions, not just for, I mean, I know that, you know, if you get a security clearance, you're vetted, you know, you have to pass certain things. But I'm not kidding. You get a government job and you after your first year, you're there for life, unless you just do something totally egregious, or you walk away from your job. You're there until your retirement, and they have the best benefits, and they get all the government holidays, duh. Like, some of us still have to work on those holidays. Not me anymore, unless I choose to, but for years I worked holidays, and a lot of people in my family worked holidays and didn't have to. And so to be honest with you, I think there's a lot of baby crying on because they're not used to being held accountable. And from what I understand, I could be wrong on these statistics, but I think that email went out to 2 million people, and only about half of them responded. That's pitiful. I am so sorry. That is pitiful. And they're saying, you know, I was listening to Elon and President Trump. They were saying they're trying to find out if, first of all, if people are doing their job, but second of all, if they're real people, if they're even reading their emails, which I'm thinking if the subject line said donuts in the break room or get your tickets for the whatever ball, they'd read it, you know. But I don't know, it just seems kind of backwards to me. And I think that the people who are fussing about it and deliberately being defiant, I don't care care how you feel about who's leading the country. That's who's in charge now. And that's your job. And I've been at jobs too, just like I'm sure a lot of you have, where you've had a job, you've been there for a while, there's some sort of organizational change, and you don't like who you're reporting to now. Life happens. You got two choices. You can either get with the program or you can find another job. It's that simple. It's that simple. And I know they're doing layoffs, but if you quit, somebody else might not get laid off.